Welcome, Star Wars fans. Hey, there are just 35 days until Christmas 2020, and every Thursday is Mando Eve for the next few weeks. And today we've got a magic maker with us again, and we're going to talk about our predictions for Chapter 12. Earlier today, on Reimagining Star Wars, a Magic Maker posted a short video of some questions, some thoughts, some thought-provoking statements. So if you've not watched that, go check out his channel. I put a link to it in the description here, and there's some good stuff. So Magic Maker, you want to give us a quick synopsis of your speculations?
Yeah. Well, I think. Do you want me to go over the questions I asked earlier, or do you want me to just kind of what I don't know if I really went into predictive things with the videos. One, I think we're definitely going back to Navarro. I think that's a given. I think we all suspect that, and so we're not going to see Ahsoka immediately. I'm starting to contemplate the possibility that when he goes to Navarro, it's not to take Baby Yoda; it's to get help to get Baby Yoda. I'm starting to think that he loses Baby Yoda in this episode.
Yeah, there's some interesting thoughts. So I think, everybody is pretty much guessing, and I think it's a very safe bet. Hey, Trinity! Oh, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. So it's a pretty safe bet. Mark Hamilton, hello. It's a pretty safe bet they're going to Navarro. It's the only planet left out of the trailer that we haven't seen yet, as far as the footage goes. So we see, and let me just bring it up here, just for context, and I'll let this play. It's muted, so you see Mando walking up, and of course Grief and Kara walking up. And I'm gonna actually pause it right here. Let me go back just a hair, because when they walk up, Mando's coming out of the Razor Crest, holding the child, right? Baby Yoda, and they're walking up, and you can still see the repairs that were done by in the last episode, right? And by the Mon Cala, and the rope straps are there. The question is, why is he going back to Navarro when he is searching for or supposedly going to meet Ahsoka, and she's not on Navarro, so why is he going there? Hey, oh, look at that, Mark. Mark, really good observation. You can see a carbonite block inside the back of the crest. You sure can. There's a carbonite block here with a figure in it. Oh, good observation.
I don't know if I ever noticed that.
No, I definitely didn't notice that. So thanks. Dale, hello. Good to have you. Park Outdoors. Good to have you here. Thanks.
Well, that explains why he went back right there. He had a bounty, so he needed money to fix his ship. That's as simple as that.
Yeah. So and he's going back to the guild, right? So he apparently gets a call. Hey, we've got a bounty. He needs money, or maybe he already had the puck, right? And he definitely needs some repairs to the Razor Crest before he can go too far. And so it would make sense that, he captured the bounty, and that he is bringing it back to get the payment. That's a really good, really good. Thanks, Mark. That's a reason right there. And I saw who said, where was the guest? It could be the Mithril. Well, they already delivered the Mithril, right?
I would think so. I don't know, but I didn't see anybody in the back of his ship in the last couple of episodes.
Well, it was season 1, episode 1 when he first got him, right? And he froze him, and then he delivered him with the other bounties. Right. So at this point, I'm not exactly sure who this bounty is back here. In fact, the appendages at the bottom kind of have me a little confused. So that is really, really good thought. So yeah, so if he's going back to Navarro to capture, and just another point here as it relates to this, the child's tram is gone, right?
Right.
Which means there'll certainly be something else to transport the child in at some point. We've seen that little backpack thing that comes along, so that could absolutely be there. And I had thought that maybe he got a call from Grief and Kara saying, "Hey, we need your help, Mando.
Right.
Could you come back here?" So,
right.
So there's that, and then the other part of the preview that kind of ties in with this, and that we've kind of talked about, is this prison break bit, right?
Right.
So here's our ITT, the Imperial Troop Transport. We get some bike, and there you saw your Mithril, right?
Yep.
So all those folks are there. We think that this is going to be the episode where all of this footage comes to play, right? There's
Grief right there.
Yeah,
he's firing the cannon that's on it.
Right. I think all of this is in the episode we're getting ready to watch.
Right. So my question is, where's Baby Yoda during all this? There's no babysitter on Navarro.
Well, that's true. Not that we know of.
Right. So we see Baby Yoda on Navarro. We see them without Baby Yoda. Where's Baby Yoda gone? And you're right. There's no more egg. There's no more nanu for the Baby Yoda, and so he is hand carried now. He's a liability. So, I mean, yeah, I guess the armor. I guess that could be the one person that we didn't consider.
Well, yeah, you know what happens if he leaves him in the Razor Crest and says "stay"?
Right, he doesn't stay.
He doesn't stay. Right? So yeah, I suppose it could be the armor is looking after the child. That's a good guess.
This is the way.
This is the way, right? Because and maybe there's where you get some more of that dialogue that we hear, when he goes and revisits her. And Mark brings up another point: how are Kara and Grief walking about Navarro? When the last time we saw what was going on there was quite an Imperial presence. We had this action going on, right? And they completely blasted away everything, and everybody went into running, hiding, and then you get the scene at the end of the dark saber with Moff Gideon, right?
Right.
So, how is it that Kara and Grief are walking about Navarro so easily in the trailer?
Right. Well, they hinted at the end of season 1 that the Imperial presence was gone, and now he could become respectable. That was kind of hinted at the end of season 1. So I think the reason why we see them all dressed up is because I think the Empire, the things that the Empire want there is not there, so they're leaving them alone, and they're focusing on other things.
Yeah, and so the other part of it is that in the description it says he rejoins old allies for a new mission. Presumably, it's the prison break mission, right? That may or may not be on Navarro itself.
I don't think it's a prison break. I don't know what it is, and I'm going to say this because I'm pretty sure this is called the Siege, is what it's going to end up being called, and could be wrong, but I mean that's the information I have right now, and so I think that's what's released on IMDb. I think the Siege. Now, if it's a siege, that is not a prison break, and so that would mean that you have a situation where you have people on the outside sieging people that are on the inside, right? And so that would imply to me that they are being sieged and then they break out. So it's not really a prison break per se. It's that they've gotten themselves trapped.
It could be. The episode titles have been remarkably unreliable. So I don't trust the title yet.
Right.
I know I did see that it was titled The Siege, but I absolutely don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. So far they've not hit on those. These descriptions have been on. These have been on point.
Right.
And they are closely coupled together, that title and this. So it's absolutely possible it is The Siege. But we also have our blue mithril guy in that ITT escaping.
Oh, absolutely. And so my thought process is that somehow or another they end up in there, and the mithril is one of the things they have to get out. And but if the siege is correct, they've gotten themselves trapped, and it's led to a siege moment. So I think that's probably how it goes.
I think,
just a thought.
Yeah, I think there was some speculation earlier that perhaps Kara and Grief had got themselves arrested on Navarro, and they were put in a facility with our mithril guy, and they end up breaking all three of them out.
Right,
and that's what we see in ITT. And it's still absolutely possible, and it's because the footage often isn't in chronological order when you watch these.
No, they rarely are.
Right. So just because we see it start off here, I'm here on business, I need your help, right? This is what he says to Grief and Kara as he arrives. Mm-hmm. He's seeking their help, not the other way around.
Right.
And I'm here on business. Mark pointed out quite astutely, because I had never seen it before, he definitely has a bounty sitting up here on. So that's the business. He's going to get some money. He needs their help. I don't know if he's looking for a repair shop. Right. He's got more work to be done on the Razor Crest for sure. But there's where he says, when he says, I need your help. I've been quested to bring this one back to his kind. And of course they've seen the child before.
Right. And that's so different else. They're laying dialogue on top of one another.
Yeah, exactly. So right. And it's tough. It's tough to know. Mark brings up another point that Carl Weathers said his character has alternative motives. He did last season even.
Yes.
So it wouldn't surprise me that his motives still aren't completely in line with Din Djarin's, but they're certainly not adversaries. But you think Karga's gonna die? We did have last season. We mourned the death of Quill, and this season, I don't know if they'd kill Carl Weathers off or not.
I don't know. I mean, I think they're at a point where they got to start killing people off, though.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody die, but I'm not sure to be Carl.
Right.
We'll see. And I know there's some speculation out there that it could be Ahsoka that dies this season. And
I heard that too. Like she was going to die. I'm like, I just don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance of that. I think we already saw, and some of the evidence comes because people are saying at the end of Rise of Skywalker, when Rey hears all those voices, Ahsoka's is amongst them.
Among them, yeah.
But Dave Filoni has pushed back against that a little bit, saying just because you heard the voice doesn't mean she's dead. And we know that in Empire Strikes Back, Luke and Leia have a conversation. Both of them are quite alive.
Right.
So I don't buy.
Yeah, I don't know if that moment is requisite of that or anything. I mean, it's just that I'm hard pressed to believe that Dave Filoni is going to let her die in this moment. To me, the tension hasn't been built up enough for her to die. The way I think Dave Filoni would want her to die in season 5. So I mean, I don't see it happening. And I think if she were to die, any series that they wanted to do with her would be killed. I don't see it happening.
I think we're absolutely in agreement there. So we've got this mission. It says that he rejoins old allies for a new mission. Well, the new mission, I don't think, is returning the child to its kind. I think the new mission has more to do with that chase scene.
Right.
I think it has a lot more to do with this footage is the mission. They've gone and they've gotten the mithril guy.
Right.
There's been some speculation about maybe the mithril guy has some information.
Yep, that's what I think. I think that I think what's actually happening is that he's trying to gain information regarding who wants the child, and in addition to just getting Ahsoka. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the beginning of the episode takes us to Corvus, and we find out when we get to Corvus that Ahsoka is not there.
That's a really good thought.
Yeah. So now he's lost, but he comes across a mithril, and that mithril, or somebody who knows the mithril, says, but I know somebody who knows. And then boom, he has to go back to Navarro. He has to locate that mithril, and that's where we get down in our way we're going. So
I do think we have a new bit of information here to factor in, and it's that bounty. Yeah. So I do think that at the beginning of the episode, it's not going to start on Navarro for sure,
right?
Or even him landing on Navarro at first. You could absolutely be right about him going to where Ahsoka was supposed to be.
Right.
And in the process comes across the bounty, captures it, brings it back, or
right.
He captures a figure that he decides would be good to ransom for money, right? And then something leads him to want to get this mithril guy. Right. And again, back to your thought about the siege, somebody's been captured.
Right.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if that's what it's called. That's the information I have, and if that is accurate, then that would mean that they're trapped somewhere and they're having to fight their way out. And I don't see them having enough to conduct the siege themselves.
No, certainly not. Maybe if Ahsoka was with them, they could.
Right.
But I don't think. And so that's the next question. Do you think we will see Ahsoka show up in any meaningful way tonight?
No, if it happens, it'll be at the very end as a teaser.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll be a Luke Skywalker moment at The Force Awakens, if anything, right?
With rocks floating this time, though.
Or her in sitting cross-legged with rocks floating around her, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Very funny. Yeah, and I agree with Mark. The mithril is some sort of key plot driver. Mark, the only question I have is whether they're purposefully going to free the mithril, or if this is a coincidental release. It's really hard to tell if they went to go get him, and that I think a magic maker. That's what you were kind of alluding to. Like the mithril may have information. The other thing that we saw in that very first episode is that he has some means. Right, the mithril is a guy of some means, and it could be that they want him to help them fund something. Right.
Right.
The mithril offered to buy Mando a whole new ship, right? Just to let him go. So it could be that they went to go get him because they want to say, "Hey, remember that offer? If I let you go, you'd buy me a ship.
Yep.
Take a look at this one. It needs some help."
That's right. That's exactly what I speculated. Is that he's going there. He says, "You remember that original offer? I think I'd like to take you up on it."
Yeah, if not a new ship, this one here definitely needs some overhaul.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's true.
But what if it's the mithril he runs into on Corvus? And that's what's in there. Like he brings the mithril back to Grief Karga.
Oh, that would be terrible. The poor guy can't catch a break. He escapes. They go capture him again, and then they carbonite him again.
It would be humorous though, and then he ends up letting him go in the end.
That's true. It would be
to take him up on the offer.
Yeah, Mark asked the question, what if Kara and Karga are imprisoned at the same facility? Mando, yeah, that's what my original thought was. But I'm really having a hard time reconciling this thought that Kara and Karga are imprisoned alongside the Mithril, and he ends up coming along because they were in the same cell block. Yeah. There's no doubt they're out of order, but what I'm having a hard time reconciling is this scene here, right, where they come and meeting, and he walks up, hey, I need your help. And I've got to bring this back to his kind, and this nice little handshake between him and Karga. All right, that seems to be a hello, I'm here for something, rather than a after the fact. And so that's tough. Hey, Gray, welcome. I responded to your comment on the other video about the JingleRing visits. The discount is no longer available, but I believe if you still use that Jingle 40 code, that'll reserve an appointment with me as Santa. So just let you know that. So yeah, I think they're absolutely out of order. There's no question. And I think you mentioned earlier that the text overlay might not even align well with what we're seeing.
Right. Yeah. I think that what you're getting for your dialogue is not what you're actually getting, and we'll be getting in the episode.
We certainly don't have context.
Right. I think they're a mismatch. So I think we've already seen that there's dialogue that came from the season 1, and that there was dialogue given from other episodes that were from other times. So inside the trailer. So I think that's one of these moments. I think it's a mishmash with an explanation of him explaining the child's situation laid into another greeting, and they're just edited together. It's not a hard thing to do.
No. So I think so far we've outlined it's going to open with him going either to the planet where Ahsoka's supposed to be. What's the name of that again?
Corvus.
Yeah, Corvus. Either going to Corvus and finding she's not there, or decides that he can't get there with the ship in the shape it is in, picks up this bounty and goes to Navarro to cash in and get some work done.
Right.
And here
I'm leaning toward Corvus first. I think he's singularly minded right now, and that's why it becomes a new mission.
Could be, and then he needs help to track down Ahsoka wherever she's gone. Hey, Gray, this is my friend Imagic Maker. He hosts a channel called Reimagining Star Wars, and as well as a Discord group where they talk about fan fiction. And there's a thing that they've called the Faninverse, which is trying to keep some sort of continuity throughout fan fiction. So as people create fan fiction, they talk about their stories in the Star Wars universe, keeping some sort of thread of continuity in there and helping one another learn skills and develop story writing skills and those kind of things. So that's who's on with me today. And if you missed it last week, a Magic Maker and I made a channel announcement that going forward on Thursdays, we're going to continue this working together. And while The Mandalorian is still releasing, we're going to be talking about our predictions. But then once that comes to, we'll bring up other Star Wars topics along the way. So that's what's going on there.
And just a caveat onto that, just the idea, we love fan fiction. We want people to improve their writing skills. We want people to speculate on what ifs, and so we're not locked into the Faninverse. We want you to do all sorts of things. We're just we also have that Faninverse along with it, so that if you want to participate in a singular universe, you get to create an alternate universe that's all connected, and that's the idea behind that. And but nonetheless, y'all are not here for that. If you want to go, you can go over to that channel. You can click over to Reimagining Star Wars and by all means, enjoy it and give me some feedback and let me know how you want things to change or what you think I should do or whatever.
Yeah.
But today I'm here to talk to Santa about the Mandalorian, and we will be speculating on all Star Wars in the future. So
absolutely. So Gray asked a good question. Maybe he's going to get a new ship before he meets with Ahsoka. I don't know at this point. The Razor Crest has become an item of itself. It's a character, much like the Millennium Falcon or Slave One, right? So at this point, I don't know that it would go over well with the fans if Razor Crest were to pass, and like the Ghost, right? Like these are ships that have their own place within the franchise, and they just did this great big crowdsourcing fundraiser for the Razor Crest on HasLab, and I think it's going to be around a while. So
I agree. I think the more we beat it up, the more we're going to love it. In the same way, the more that the Millennium Falcon broke, the more that we love the Millennium Falcon.
It does kind of contextualize when people say that the Falcon is a piece of junk.
Yes.
I mean,
for 1,000 credits, that's the best you could do.
The Falcon looks a lot better shaped than the Razor Crest. Just saying.
Like, it doesn't fall into the water. Let's just say that.
Even after Rise, when it was on fire there, I think it was in better shape than the Razor Crest.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh. When that happened too, I went, wow, Santa was right.
Yeah. So we think it's for sure the episode is not going to start on Navarro. This is not the opening shot by any means. We may get here about. I think this might be Act 2 of the show. Act 1 will be however he ends up with that bounty, and that'll end Act 1 as he comes here. This will be Act 2. He'll go to Navarro. Act 3, I agree. I think is going to be the escape sequence or whatever that is. Right.
Let's conclude that the Act 3 is the conclusion and resolution of this episode. I also think we're entering into Act 2 of the overall season. So I think so. We got our mission, and the thing is like you establish your normal world, and we've gone through him getting beat up, trying to establish that there's Mandalorians out there. We have done that. We've now established that there's Boba Fett out there. There are people who dress up like Cobb Vanth, like Mandalorians. And we've established that Bo-Katan and other Mandalorians exist that do not follow his creed exactly to the T.
Yeah,
say it that way.
Yeah,
and so, but still call themselves Mandalorians. And that was the premise of my whole question process really today, even though I had some other speculations inside there with Ahsoka and the Mithril. But the main aspect is I think that's really the theme of where we're going with this with overall the Mandalorian. I think the answer to the question is going to be, what is a Mandalorian? What is truly a Mandalorian?
Yeah, so, I agree. I think also that I still stand that I think Cara is going to end up joining with Bo-Katan and becoming a Night Owl.
You may be right. I'm actually starting to ship Cara though. I hate to say that. I rewatched the scene where we first got introduced to Cara, and then I saw a bunch of little snidbits of it, and I just and the question that people were asking, and as I was looking at it, was, is she flirting with Mando? And she's asking these questions where it looks like when we're on that world where we saw the farm, the village, and there she was, kind of encouraging Mando to stay there with a pretty lady, if you remember that. But at the same time, she was kind of testing him. It was really a flirt to test. Is this something he's willing to do? What kind of person he is? And so people were asking that kind of question. And so the more I've thought about it, the more I'm kind of starting to ship that. I'm not saying I'm fully on board with that. It's just that, so I was like, I think that's a possibility. So I am starting to think that she might be a Mandalorian training, but she'll take up his creed.
I see. Well, I don't know. I think he's going to end up learning it.
No shipping. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's great, Gray. That's a great response. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could make it start trending, right? Hashtag Carrot in. Is that the term you use, or is it in Dune, or you know?
It could be Dinara.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna pick up on his creep, but it could be that he picks up from Bo-Katan and learns like this rule about wearing the helmet is just a very small faction of the Mandalorians. And I agree with you. I think it's about his journey, about discovering more about this lifestyle, this heritage.
Right.
Everything.
I think now that I think about it, with him going back to Navarro and him having the challenge of Bo-Katan and the way of the Children of the Watch, I don't see how there's any way that he does not have a conversation with the blacksmith at this point.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it all ties back to all this rumor that happened about actor walking off a set and saying, you know, he's not coming back and all that nonsense.
Right.
I think that something like that likely happened, but it will tie in really well for season 3 for him to be able to take the helmet off, and it'll be something that he'll fall more in line with the mainstream Mandalorians. But
yeah, I actually don't believe that rumor at all. Now that originally I was willing to kind of entertain it, and but now that I see what kind of what they're setting up, I don't believe that rumor at all. I no longer believe that at all.
Yeah. So Mark asked, remember Campia? So Campia had those things, 4 truths and a lie, I think it was, or 3 truths and a lie.
Right.
One of them, we said Cara will become lots of people's favorite character. Maybe she does something amazing. I do think that's likely.
I think she's a freaking awesome character. She's tough. She's pretty. She's like she meets every criteria for like every man's dream. Straight man's dream. Let's put it that way.
Well, I keep going back to the rumor of the Cara Dune and Bo-Katan show, spinoff, and it would absolutely make sense that this sets up a quest for the dark saber and reestablishing Mandalore, and that what we will end up with, as Josh Lucas likes to talk about, the Filoni-verse, is eventually we end up with different lines going, right? So we end up with Din Djarin and his quest and learning more about maybe Children of the Watch. We end up with the Bo-Katan storyline in searching for the dark saber, and we have another around everybody's favorite from I was going to try to be pithy and now I've lost it. But we talk about our other Mandalorian, not Mandalorian,
Cara Grief.
No. He showed up in the first episode.
Boba
Fett. Yeah, Boba Fett. So Boba Fett's getting his own spin-off as well. So you've got 3 different stories that could be happening around Mandalorian types, right? Even if there's still the thing, is Boba an actual Mandalorian or not? But let's say that he is. So you could end up with that, and then those stories culminating in a theatrical event, movie length feature that brings over like the conquest of Mandalore, something like that, right?
No, I think ultimately that, like I said, I think with this question, this story, the whole point of the Mandalorian is answer what is truly a Mandalorian. What does it mean to be Mandalorian? And so, and I think if you're going to go down the path of about Boba Fett, is that Boba Fett knows what it means to be Mandalorian, and he has conflicting things, just the way that our Mandalorian does here with Din Djarin has that, but you're going to have a different aspect because he's got a lot of past that he has to deal with.
Yeah.
And so I think it'll be him dealing with that past that contradicts it if you're going to talk about a story about Boba Fett. And
Yeah.
then if you're going to deal with Cara Dune becoming one, it's about becoming a Mandalorian and struggling with that. So I mean, it's taking on new identities are part. Reinforcing an identity you have and holding true. That's one aspect. Taking
Yeah.
on a new identity, and remaking yourself as Cara Dune, and then Boba Fett's would be overcoming your past to embrace what you truly were always meant to be.
Yeah, I think they're compelling stories, right?
Right.
In all three cases. In Bo-Katan, you got Cara Dune going through that transition, but also, an identity. Who is she? Is she a former, shock trooper? Is she or is she a Mandalorian? What is it? And I think the culture fits really well with her personality, and she could be an absolutely fantastic Mandalorian. And then by creed, right? By
Right.
lifestyle, make that commitment. But and Mark put the liberation of Mandalore would be cool. Yeah, and it goes to something we were talking about just before we talked. So right before we came on, there's the thought that, and it came from the last episode where there was a discussion between Din and Bo about Mandalore being cursed.
Right.
She said, "Don't believe everything you hear." Right. Essentially.
Right.
And so the thought, and I think it holds a lot of weight, is that Moff Gideon has some control over Mandalore with that dark saber,
Yeah.
and that perhaps he did get the dark saber from oh shoot, what's his name? The boy,
Corky.
Yeah, Corky.
Yeah, I speculated that too. I mean, because one thing we don't, she says she's the last of her line, and
Right.
And so that implies that Corky is gone, and that was their nephew, right?
Right, and that would explain why Bo doesn't have it and she's alive.
Right, and I mean, she never fought Moff Gideon. Like she had basically, she's denying her, like she didn't want to take the dark saber originally, if you remember in Rebels. Like Bo-Katan does not seem to want to be the leader of Mandalore. She's avoiding what her destiny is. It seems she's like it's meant for somebody else. Is what she keeps basically happening, and even in the last episode, she didn't say, and I will take the claim of Mandalore and rule it. She says, and we'll place a new Mandalore on the throne.
Yeah,
and that's what she said. So she again is not keeping herself. She's not establishing herself. She does not want to be the leader of Mandalore.
Except in the last episode, she, was the title of it was the heiress, right?
That's right.
And she said that she is the rightful heir, right? So,
well, she said that she's the last in the line of her. And that did she say that her sister had ruled? I don't know. If she noticed that.
I think she said that she fought in the war. She's the last of her line, and she's and I think she put a tag on there about being the rightful heir to rule.
Right. I don't remember that at all. I mean, I have to go back and look at it.
I have to look at the exact text there again. But that's in any event, that would explain if Gideon got the saber from Corky by killing Corky, and that he now has some sort of strong arm over Mandalore,
right?
And that the Empire has, or the Imperial remnants at this point, because we're after Return of the Jedi, but the Imperial remnants have control of the sector, or then people aren't going there because the Empire has, or Gideon's forces have kind of established themselves, and are making it impossible for folks to go there.
Right. I mean, there's still the same bent of the super commandos that we saw with Gar Saxon. And so there's still Mandalorians. They just happen to have been loyal to the Empire. Right. And And so at least they had claimed, same as Gar Saxon, they claimed to be Mandalorians. And if you remember that the Saxons were wearing stormtrooper armor because they were implementing the Duchess, if you remember, with Sabine. And so at some point they shift out of wearing the Beskar and start wearing the Imperial armor. So was Moff Gideon a part of that group?
Right.
The question.
Right. Is he a Mandalorian descendant?
That's
or, right. and there's been some guess about that, right? Or is he much more along the line of Maul? Maul owned the Darksaber for a while,
right,
and claimed to be ruler of Mandalore and put his own crony in there in his stead. But is Moff Gideon ruling it from that perspective?
Right. In the sense that he defeated Corky and took it, and therefore rightfully can claim the Darksaber and the throne, in the same way that Maul did.
Right, and might he also be force sensitive as Maul? Right, so there are more parallels.
Yeah, maybe he was an Inquisitor instead of he became a Moff or declared himself Moff later. Who knows?
Well, yeah, it's fantastic backstory yet to be told. So I think we've discussed it. There's a couple other things I just kind of want to go through here, and it goes off of this post that came from Yakface. And if you're not familiar with Yakface, he posts a lot of things on Star Wars toys, figures, Black Series figures, Hot Toys, and pretty much everything. And he posted this earlier, and some of these are very familiar, right? We've got a Death Trooper here. Of course, we've got our Sand.
Tusken Warrior.
Tusken Warrior here.
Tusken.
And we've got a pilot of sorts here, a tank pilot, and we also have this beach trooper. So, and just for context, right? You see this guy last time in Rogue One, right? So that's the dude on the left, and if you look at the Death Troopers here, we already saw them in The Mandalorian.
Right.
So that's two. That's the two on the end. Of course, we've got plenty of examples of our Tuskens, but this guy here, all of a sudden, and why these would all four be put together has led to a good deal of speculation about what we might see tonight. Might we? And we also have this Topps trading card that came out showing this tank pilot. All right, tank driver. There's another image. So, and we've seen the ITT. We know that this Imperial troop transport is going to show up. So, might we then get another one of these beachcomber guys, right? Might we get another one of these tonight as well? So
I don't think we're gonna get the beach guy. I think that's unless they're on Corvus. I don't think we're gonna get them.
Yeah.
I happen to think that Corvus and Cronus are in the same system, and I think we're going to find out some information on that before long. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if it'll be answered tonight. That said, I do think we're going to see your tank trooper tonight. I think we'll see them inside the ITT.
Yeah.
I think your sand trooper is going to be something that a beach trooper, or I don't know what they are, your vacation trooper. And,
yeah.
I don't know what their official name is.
The surfer
trooper. We'll end up probably in the next episode. I think that we're going to. I think that we're not going to Corvus except for that short period of time. I really do think that that's our new mission. Like we're at a loss of what to do, kind of thing, and he doesn't, and he's run into a roadblock. So I think things are getting ready to play out in that way. I think I halfway speculate that he'll lose shore troopers. Yes, that's what it is. And thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I think that's probably the path that we're I'm curious on whether we lose Baby Yoda in this whole thing. I think that plays a lot and will play a big part of how this thing plays out if we lose Baby Yoda.
Well, there's another speculation out there, and it came from Josh Lucas again at Den of Nerds. Josh is saying that he thinks that the child is going to go with Ahsoka and no longer be part of the Mandalorian story.
Right.
That and he has a pretty strong argument for it, just from it makes sense from a marketing perspective, how to spin off this other series, how to get instant attention for it and interest in it outside of the sweaties in the Star Wars community.
Right.
But I tend to disagree with him. I even commented back on his video saying he needs to go back and watch Paper Moon, because at the end of Paper Moon, the child ends up back with the guy. And I think rather you guys in the comments. So whether or not Ahsoka intends to take the child, I think the child's going to end up back in the. Yeah, you just saw it. The question is has the shore trooper armor been adjusted for female bodies? That's what we don't want to know.
Yeah, well, that'll be a controversy. That's the bikini trooper.
The bikini trooper.
There's a short that I saw on about females in video games.
Yeah,
and it'll play right into that, and how males always get the really big and stout armor, and then whenever they show a female, it's like a bikini, and you're like, it's the breastplate of of light, and it's just a little bikini, and you're like, and the girl's like, what,
right. Yeah, I mean, there is a big thing there. I don't want to go too far off the rails, but I thought that the Mandalorian armor is well suited. And it does not fall into that sexist stereotype that you see in a lot.
I agree with you.
I thought they did a good job of it.
Being a somebody who makes the kits and works with others to make the kits, I can tell you that we're in a phase now as we're decking out the family in their armor, that we're having to compensate for that stuff, because they do not like the way the male pieces fit.
Yeah.
So so I can say from the aspect of female kit on their Mandalorian armor that they definitely want the female anatomy to give to be compensated for and to give them room. It's just comfort. It really is a comfort thing.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with what we saw in the armor.
Right. I don't think so either.
Yeah, and I'm not going to highlight some of these comments, but I will say go read them. They're great. I agree. The glow in her armor were amazing, and the way she fought in it, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of touched base on our predictions. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 of the episode to come up, and we both agree on the major principles. Just as a recap, I think Act 1 is going to open up with the Mandalorian, with Din Djarin going somewhere other than Navarro.
Right.
And, it's going to result in him getting this bounty where he shows up to Navarro with whatever that part of the story is. And we have some difference of opinion about what that might entail, but we agree on the basic principle. Secondly, we think Act 2 is going to take place with him arriving on Navarro and establishing what this mission is, what the new mission entails in the plot for that.
Yep.
Act 3 will be carrying out that mission and the result of it. So, and that will set us up for Chapter 13, which we all agree that's going to be the Ahsoka episode. And we also agree on the major part that Ahsoka will not have a significant role in this episode, in Chapter 12. At most, she gets a cameo appearance at the end.
I agree.
So I think that wraps up our predictions for Chapter 12. Other thoughts about the remainder of the season? So will we get another trailer that covers the last 4 episodes? What do you think?
I think so. I think the trailer that we've seen has only covered the first 4 episodes.
Yeah, I think that's quite clear.
And I think that as this ends, we're going to get another. So expect another trailer next week.
Yeah,
maybe this weekend actually.
It might come out Thanksgiving Day during the NFL football games.
Yeah, I think it'll come before then.
Oh, there you go. Now we've got something to put in the sand because we did have a bit of if you're keeping score on our predictions last week. Santa fared way better than a Magic Maker on our card.
Yeah, like 100% better. But you got everything and I got nothing.
So that's what makes it. We got to point out our differences because we're in major agreement on all the major story points for 12. So our stake in the sand for next week is going to be whether that trailer comes out before or after Thanksgiving.
Right.
So
I still think before. I just think they're gonna want to build up the hype moving into. I know we're all gonna be waiting for Ahsoka, but I think that most people don't know really who Ahsoka is. I mean, if you're a Star Wars super fan, of course you know who Ahsoka is. But if you're just following along and you haven't, like I have, people that I work with and they love Star Wars, but they'll only love live action Star Wars. So that's the only way they'll watch it.
I'm the same. I had to talk to a friend of mine who's a big Star Wars nerd. The guy's read about every novel in existence, and he named his oldest son Luke. The guy is a big Star Wars nerd, but he has not watched the Clone Wars animated series. He's aware of Ahsoka, but he knows nothing about her. And I'm like, dude, you need to start watching that series now. You've got a week to binge 7 seasons. Go.
That's hard to do. We tried to do that in a course of 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. It is hard.
It was very difficult to do.
It's very difficult. It's 7 good seasons. As long as he gets through, a couple of seasons, at least he'll have some backstory on her. But it's not going to really come meaningful until you get all the way through Rebels, actually. So, but anyway, you're right. Not the average Star Wars fan out there is not really aware of who Ahsoka is. There'll be a trailer. Will it be before or after Thanksgiving? We'll see. And then for the remainder of the season, you said that you think this is going to be the start of Act 2 for the season, right?
Yes, I do. I think, and that's why I think that it's a good possibility that you have the Baby Yoda taken at this point, because it sets up the remainder of what's going on, and then it gives you an opportunity for a false victory. Right. Where they get the child back, and then it leads to a series of events that play out.
Yeah. And I think we're setting up for is the next question. In the remainder of the season, how many more episodes will we get with Bo-Katan? One. Well, let's do like we'll let the folks who are still with us. There's 6 people online. A is none, 0. B would be 1 or 2. C would be 3 or more. So A, B, or C. What do you think?
I'm going to go with B. I'm going to write it down too.
1 or 2. All right. I'm going to go with C. I think she may be in 3. So that's where I'm going to go. So Gray?
So you think? All right. So let me get this clarified. When you say 3, you mean including the first one when we saw her?
More episodes.
All right. So I think she'll show up in the last 2, is what I think.
Okay. So Gray says 2. Magic Maker says 2. Dale says 2. Jonathan says 2. So I'm being outnumbered there. I say 3. So there you go.
And your record says we should probably bet on you.
Well, I've got to throw you a bone. You've got to be right at least once, you know. So,
twice. I mean, broken clocks are right twice a day, right?
There you go. Broken clocks are right twice a day. Yeah. So Dale says she's at 3 total.
That's where I agree. I agree. She'll be in 3 total. She'll be in the one we saw her in the 2 end.
You guys are probably right. I'm going with it just to be different. I actually agree. I think she's going to be at 3 total, 2 more, and that'll set it up for the spinoff series. I think we'll get Ahsoka showing up somewhere else, and we're also going to get Bo-Katan and Cara Dune. I think maybe in the last episode, we're going to see Cara leave with Bo and Ahsoka.
Right.
And that'll be like oh no.
I think she will, because I think that Grief is going to die.
Yeah.
She has no reason to stay with Grief if Grief is dead.
Yeah. And don't forget the hashtag, right? Cara Dune, right? There's that.
Oh yeah.
So everybody be heartbroken that Din's girlfriend is leaving Bo. So I did that just to poke at Gray and get her to,
right. It's that they'll have a long distance relationship. Their missions keep them apart.
Oh, that's great. I consider myself successful if I make at least one person yell at me. So
we have to. So the goal now is to make one person angry every.
You gotta be a turd a little bit. So
are we gonna move it up to 50%? We want 50% really happy with it, 50% really angry with it. Because that's what I think that's what the hallmark of a good show is.
Now you're being rotten. So with that, I think we're going to call it a day.
I'm teasing, because if we're going to make people mad, let's go down that route, right?
I know where you are. I know you are. I think that's a great place to end today. Folks, we look forward to tonight, the big episode 4. We'll be halfway through the season, and look forward to getting on at some point tomorrow, giving my spoiler-free impressions, short episode, and then Monday, on Mando Mondays, we'll have a full breakdown discussion of it. And want to say tomorrow also, Hasbro's been having Fan First Fridays, and with Yakface putting out this image earlier today, we might see something along this line tomorrow in our Fan First Friday, and more of this might make sense when we start to see these troopers in context of that 4th episode. So it would make sense if we see these in the episode and they put it for sale later today. Thanks, Magic Maker. Appreciate you being here again. Really enjoying doing these episodes with you and continuing this collaboration for
always, my friend. I enjoy this a lot. This is a lot of fun.
All right, you guys have a blessed day, wonderful evening, and until next time, Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.